Morning all. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry for the disruption. So let's begin our today's discussion. In yesterday's class, we have understood how the phase is evolved when you are performing an equilibrium cooling, which is the slow cooling, and how the solid phase evolved when you perform the non-equilibrium cooling. The difference in the final product is, in case of equilibrium cooling, we have a homogeneous solid, while in case of a non-equilibrium cooling, we make a final product which is having a chord structure. Chord structure, that means there is a concentration gradient within the layers of the solid. At the center, the concentration was highest, and as you move away from the center of the solid, your concentration gradually decreases. This happens because in the equilibrium cooling, you allow the constituent to diffuse, and hence the solid is always under the equilibrium concentration. While in non-equilibrium cooling, where the chord structure is being formed, your rate of cooling is so fast that you are not allowing the constituent to diffuse across the solid, and because of which you end up with concentration gradient within the solid. Now in today's class, we will going to discuss the formation of different phases in the eutectic structure. Yesterday, the discussion was on isomorphous system. So we consider the same eutectic phase diagram of lead and tin, and we will going to discuss the evolution of microstructure at 4 different points on this particular phase diagram. The point of interest are marked with 4 different blue color lines. So we will discuss evolution of microstructure one at a time along 4 of these lines. So let us first focus on the evolution of the microstructure along the first blue line, which is the leftmost line. So I'm moving to the next slide, where you can see I have shown only part of the phase diagram through which that blue color line is passing. So let us look at the different changes that sample undergoes during the cooling. So let us start our discussion from the topmost point, which is marked as point A. This is the point which is above the liquidus line. So we expect that at this particular point, everything will be in the liquid state. So at point A, what you get is only one phase, which is homogeneous liquid. And if you want to find out the concentration of the liquid, what you should do is you should draw a vertical intercept on the x-axis. So this dotted line is the intercept on the x-axis. It intersects the x-axis somewhere close to 0. We have not quantified that number, rather we wrote it as CL. So this CL, or rather C1, is the concentration of the liquid phase at point A. Remember, the concentration that we are mentioning is the concentration in weight percent of SN. So here the liquid concentration is mentioned as C1 weight percent of SN. Now this will continue to remain in the liquid phase until you cross the solidus line. That is where our point B is present. So I am removing the previous annotation so you can clearly see the point B. Here you can see now point B. The point B is precisely at the intersection of the pure liquid phase with the liquidus line. So at this point, you can see the first evolution of the solid alpha phase. So your phase will be like this. Part of it will still liquid, while another portion has got converted into the liquid phase. As far as the concentration is concerned, since your solidus line and liquidus line merge at the same point where the point B is marked, the concentration of the liquid and solid will be same. Why it is so? Because otherwise we have to draw the tie line. But here there is no space available for the tie line because your solidus line and the liquidus line both merge at point B. So your concentration of liquid and solid will be same, and it will be same as C1. Now if I further keep cooling it below the solvus line, which is this particular line, what you can see is as you go downward along this dotted line, your solid will remain the alpha solid and there will be no liquid present. So if I focus on a particular point, let us say at point C, you can see the microstructure is only the alpha solid and its concentration will be same as that of C1. So your concentration of the solid is C1 weight percent of Sn. If I want you to quantify it, it will be something like 3% of Sn. So there will be no further change. If I keep going down up to the room temperature, nothing will change. You will always remain in the alpha phase. So there will be only three changes which we have observed. Initially above the liquidus line, it was homogeneous liquid. The moment you cross the intersection of the liquidus and the solidus line, you get first solidification. So it is partly liquid and solid. And if you further cool it down, you end up with the homogeneous alpha phase. So your net result in the process is you end up with polycrystalline alpha solid. Why it is polycrystalline? Because it is made up of multiple grains. And if solid is made up of multiple grains, we used to define it as polycrystalline solid. Now, instead of this particular point, if we cool through another point on the phase diagram, this particular point is this one. Now we are cooling through the second point. That means we are cooling along this line. Now if you closely look at this line first passes from the liquidus region, then it enters into the alpha plus L, then alpha, and then alpha plus beta. So there will be multiple changes. So it is interesting to note the phase changes which is happening in this particular case. So let us look at the changes in the phases here. So you begin with the upmost point. Any doubt? Okay, so we are at point D. This point is above the liquidus line, so everything is in a homogeneous liquid phase and its concentration will be same as what you get if you draw an intercept on the x-axis, which is marked here as C2. So your concentration of the homogeneous liquid phase is C2 weight percent of Sn. It will remain the liquid till you cross the liquidus line. The moment you cross to the liquidus line, let us say we are at point E, you can now have both the phases, partly it is liquid and partly it is the alpha solid. Why alpha solid? Because we are in the alpha plus L region. So what will be the concentration of the two phases? If you want to find out that, what you should draw is, you should draw a tie line that will pass through the point under interest. So your tie line will be something like this, and it will intersect on either side, one with the solidus line and another one with the liquidus line. The one that is intersecting with the solidus line will going to give you the concentration of the alpha phase. So your concentration of the alpha phase is close to 10 weight percent of Sn, while the liquid is having its concentration, which will be slightly lower than the 30 weight percent, let's say 28% of Sn. Now, if I continue to go down, the moment I cross the solvus line, the entire liquid will turn to the solid alpha phase. That is the situation at point F. So let us define the microstructure at point F. The microstructure will look like this, where everything is only one polycrystalline alpha solid. And what is the concentration of the alpha phase at this particular point? Since everything is only one solid, its concentration will be along the same dotted line, which is C2 weight percent of Sn. So your concentration is C2 weight percent of Sn at point F. Remember, you have to draw the tie line when more than one phase is present. If there is only single phase, from the point under interest, you have to directly take the vertical intercept, and that gives you the concentration. If you continue to cool it further and cross the solvus line and move along the point G, now you will in a region which will be marked with alpha plus beta. So now you have an alpha plus beta region. Now from where you are coming? You were coming from the alpha region. Here it was alpha region, and further cooling it down. So from F to point G we are moving. At point F, what we have? We have entire product as alpha solid. So everything is in a solid phase. When you cross this lower solvus line, you can see your microstructure is still mostly remain an alpha solid, which you can see here. Your microstructure changes like this. Initially it was like this, and now it is like this. So the brown background which you see is nothing but the same alpha solid which you have in the previous case. But on the top of that, you can see some small blue lines. You can see there are few small blue color lines. These blue color lines is your beta phase. So from where the beta phase has come, because there was no liquid left now. So this beta phase actually evolves out of the alpha phase. Now, to understand this, you should be able to understand the difference between an alpha and beta. Alpha is basically the phase which is growing on the left edge of the phase diagram. Let me go to the full phase diagram so that I can explain it better there. Here you can see it better. If I ask you where is the alpha phase, your alpha phase is typically on the left hand side. And where is the beta phase? Your beta phase is typically on the right hand side. So if I ask you what is the concentration on the left hand side, your concentration on the left hand side of SN is low concentration. So low concentration of SN means high concentration of PB. So alpha is the phase which is having high concentration of lead, while beta is the phase where you have high concentration of tin. So what is the primary difference between alpha and beta? Primary difference between alpha and beta is both of them are solid, but the alpha solid is the one which has high concentration of lead, and beta solid is the one which has high concentration of tin. Is it clear? Okay, so let us go back to the discussion. So at point F, what we had is only the solid alpha phase. At this point, we have only the solid alpha phase, and at point G, we end up into the alpha plus beta phase. So your beta phase has to evolve out of the alpha phase. What is alpha phase? I have just explained in the previous slide. Alpha is the one which is lead rich. And what is beta phase? Beta is the one which is SN rich. So how a beta phase can evolve out of an alpha phase? If beta has to form out of an alpha, that means in a localized region within the solid, the percentage of SN should go high. So the points which is marked as blue color lines are the localized regions within the alpha solid where somehow SN from the nearby region has diffused in large quantity. So those blue color lines are the one where the concentration of SN has gone up and it has get converted into the beta phase. But remember, the overall fraction of the beta present will be very, very small. Why it is so? Because it is forming out of an alpha phase which itself has very low amount of SN present in it. Why? Because alpha is a PB rich phase. Let's say alpha is something like 90% lead and 10% SN. So everywhere you have alpha which is 90% lead, 10% SN. Now if a beta rate reach phase has to evolve, that is SN reach phase, then you have only 10% SN everywhere. That 10% SN has to diffuse to a common point where its local concentration goes above 50%. If it goes above 50%, then only you have a beta reach phase. So that possibility is very minimal, and that is why you have limited presence of the beta phase. So your final result is your solid is still mostly alpha solid with presence of fine crystals of beta in little proportion. Is it clear? Okay, now let's talk about the phase formation along the third line. The third line of interest is the one which is passing from the eutectic point. So we know until you cross the eutectic point, everything will remain in the liquid phase. So in this particular case, we have denoted a homogeneous liquid phase at one point under interest above the liquidus line at point H. Here your phase is single homogeneous liquid phase. whose concentration will be same as along the dotted line, which in this case is marked as C3. And we know the C3 concentration, which is the eutectic concentration, is 61.9 weight percent of SN. So you can precisely mark this point. Remember, if asked in the examination, you can write an approximate number for these values. Say, for example, looking at the x-axis, you can clearly see it is slightly more than 60, but significantly lower than 70. So it is roughly something around 62 weight percent. So instead of writing 61.9, if you write 62 or 63, it will still be fine. So it will remain in the homogeneous liquid phase until it crosses the eutectic point at point I. So what happens at point I? At point I, your entire liquid turns into two solids, which is namely alpha plus beta. And how the alpha plus beta arrange itself in the solid? So your structure is something like this, where you have alternate arrangement of alpha and beta. Here, beta is marked as the blue color line, and the light pink color lines represents the alpha solid. What is the difference between the two is now known to you. Alpha is the Pb rich phase and beta is the Sn rich phase. This kind of structure where you have alternate layers of alpha and beta is being formed is called the lamellar structure. The layered structure is being referred as the lamellar structure. This is the specialty of eutectic composition. Whenever you cool through the eutectic point, your homogeneous liquid gets converted into eutectic alpha and eutectic beta. What is the meaning of eutectic alpha and eutectic beta? Its meaning is it is forming the layered laminar structure. Now, if you want to answer what is the concentration of alpha phase and what is the concentration of the beta phase, then we write it that the concentration of the alpha phase is C alpha E and the concentration of the beta phase is C beta E. How do I know these numbers? If you want to quantify numerically, then what you need to do is you have to draw a tie line that is passing from the eutectic point and it intersects the alpha phase and beta phase on the either side. So if I draw the tie line along the isotherm, you can see it intersects the alpha region here, and on the other side, it intersects the beta region at this point. So the point where it intersects the alpha region, if I draw a vertical intercept on the x-axis, it is going to give me the concentration of the alpha phase, which we have mentioned here, C alpha as 18.3 weight percent of Sn. You can see it is slightly less than 20. Here it is mentioned as precise value 18.3 weight percent of Sn. In the same manner, if I take the vertical intercept from the isotherm line with the beta phase, it will going to give me the concentration of the beta, which is equal to 97.8 weight percent of Sn. Is it clear? How to find out the concentration of alpha and beta phase? Is it clear to everyone? You are already aware about how to find out the concentration of the liquid. That was directly by taking the intercept from the point under interest onto the x-axis, which was along the same dotted line, whose concentration is same as the concentration of the eutectic point, which is 61.9 weight percent of SN, and rest is PB. So what we understood is, when you cool through the eutectic point, that is, your liquid is turning to two solid phases, alpha and beta, simultaneously, it forms an interesting microstructure which is in the form of layers. So this layered structure is very important, and it's a characteristic of eutectic phase which is present in the solid. So if you are investigating any unknown solid and if you find lamellar structure like the one which I have just explained, you can predict that the solid is evolved through an eutectic reaction, or you can predict that if it is being liquidized at one particular unique point, an entire solid will turn into a homogeneous liquid. So how the lamellar structure grows? If you want to understand the formation or evolution of the solid lamellar alpha and beta phase, you can understand it through the process of growth which is shown here. What we have understood that is, in the eutectic point, the solid which will evolve has an alternate layered structure of alpha and beta phase. Remember, what is the difference between alpha and beta? Alpha is the lead-rich phase and beta is the tin-rich phase. So when an alpha is growing, that means it is receiving more number of lead during its growth. So if I look at the interface between the solid and the liquid, here liquid is the light yellow color continuous region, and the lamellar structure is between the brown color, light brown color, and the blue color one. So if I look at the interface, you can see your alpha is diffusing through the liquid towards the alpha phase. Here, let me mark it. Here you can see your SN is facing the alpha phase while your PB is being faced by the beta phase. You can see here, beta is facing the PB while alpha is facing the SN. So during the growth, beta is already SN rich, and some PB from the liquid is now diffused across the beta phase, while during the growth, an SN which is facing the alpha phase will diffuse across it. So primarily you end up into a layered laminar structure where you have alternate layers of alpha and beta is present. Remember, as the time progresses, the alpha and beta layers will continue to grow. That means this will grow along this line and this will continue to grow. This will continue to grow. Along this line. Is it clear? Okay, now let us look at the fourth line. The fourth line is passing from the alpha plus L region alone. So here also we will going to get an interesting microstructure. Let us start our discussion with point J. Point J is in the homogeneous liquid region. So there is only one phase present, which is homogeneous liquid. It will remain liquid till you cross the liquidus line, which we are now crossing at point K. So at point K, we are in the alpha plus L region. So you can see your phase is still mostly the homogeneous liquid, while some liquid has turned into an SN rich alpha phase, right? If you continue to cool it further and move to the point L, what you can see is your alpha phase is continue to grow and your liquid continue to shrink. So you end up with a phase that looks like this. If I ask you to find me the concentration of liquid and the alpha solid at point K and point L, then what you have to do is you have to draw the tie lines, and tie line will going to tell you the concentrations. If I continue to cool along the dotted line from point L to point M, you end up with a microstructure which looks like this. What happens? From point L to point M, the leftover liquid will get converted into alpha plus beta phase. Now, this alpha plus beta phase has its composition, which is the eutectic composition, and hence it forms the laminar structure. So if you look the complete phase, which is shown as a schematic diagram here, you have three kind of phases present. The eutectic alpha phase, which is in the form of light brown color layered structure. Then you have the blue color eutectic beta phase, and then this circular phase, which is also in the light brown color, which was initially present at point L, will continue to remain there. This preformed phase, which was previously there, is being referred as the primary alpha. So we have total three phases present in the solid. The primary alpha, which was the initially solid, which was formed in the alpha plus L region at point L, and then an eutectic alpha and the eutectic beta phase, which is present in the form of layers. So how to find out the concentration of the three phases? An alpha phase, a eutectic alpha phase, and a eutectic beta phase. So you can define them by using the concept of tie line. Remember, you were cooling through an alpha plus L region. So let me first mark that point. We were cooling along this line. So here it was homogeneous liquid above the liquidus line. Between alpha plus L region, you are growing your alpha phase, and it will continue to grow till you reach to the isotherm line. So at this point, the final concentration of your primary alpha will be equal to, if I want to find out that, I have to draw the tie line on both the sides. Remember, whenever you want to define the fraction of alpha, means in what proportion the alpha is present, we use the rule where if you want to find out the concentration of the liquid, we use the proportion on the solid side, and if you want to find out the proportion of the solid, we use the content on the liquid side. Here you have one portion which is liquid, another is solid, and you want to define fraction of solid, which is primary alpha, W alpha. So it will be equal to define the alpha side, you will consider the distance on the liquid side, which is Q. So it is Q upon total, and your total is P plus Q. So your primary alpha will have its weight fraction, which is equal to Q upon P plus Q. Your total alpha is now containing both the primary as well as the eutectic alpha. Now, whenever you want to find out the total, you should consider the distance from point under interest to the beta region on one side and to the alpha region on the other side. Remember, your alpha region will form at this particular point, which I am just marking at a circle. So this is the point where your alpha region is. So what you got is these three regions, P, Q, and R. And your alpha, if you want to define its total alpha phase, you should look towards the beta. So if I looking towards the beta, I will get this Q plus R divided by total, which is P plus Q plus R. So weight fraction of the total alpha is Q plus R upon P plus Q plus R. And finally, weight fraction of beta, again at what point? At point C4. We are defining everything with reference to this. So when you want to define beta, you should look towards alpha, and that gap is equal to P. So your beta is P upon P plus Q plus R. This is a bit confusing. If you remember it like this, whosoever concentration you want to find, your numerator will be opposite of that. If you are finding the total concentration, your denominator will be the gap between the alpha to the beta region. And if you are talking about the primary alpha or primary beta, it will be from the point of under interest up to the eutectic point. So for the first quantity, we refer only a distance which is up to the eutectic point, only up to this point, right? So this will going to tell you the primary, and for eutectic, you have to consider the total gap, this one. Is it clear? Okay, if there are no doubts, let's stop our today's discussion. We are left with two more topics in this unit. This we will continue to discuss after your MSTs. Okay, so we are closing our today's session now.